Hello everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I am doing another Star Wars Legends book review, and that is for Children of the Jedi by Barbara Hambly. So this book is the first in kind of a trilogy. It's a set of 3 books. I don't believe they are an official trilogy, but it is typically referred to by fans as the Callista trilogy. Normally I'd be reviewing a trilogy all in one video, but this one I decided to split up because it's not technically an official trilogy. But this is the first book in the Callista trilogy. I was a little curious about this book and the other 2 books as well, because they're one of the ones that I haven't heard very much about, but what I had heard was kind of mixed, which on one hand kind of makes me a little nervous because then I'm afraid I'm not really going to like it. But on the other hand, I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe I'll enjoy it. If you have seen some of my other videos recently where I've said that, you probably know where this is going. But I had heard that, it was just okay. So I was hoping this would be kind of a hidden gem or something of the sort, which is how I am with a lot of the Legends books or books in general that are not super duper well liked or even very well known about. But of course, this one I would agree I was pretty mixed on. Starting out with the positives, I actually really enjoyed the setup for this book. Like the first 50 to 100 pages, like the first bit of this book, like the setup for the plot and everything, and just kind of the way that things kind of get started, I actually really enjoyed. I thought it sounded very interesting. There was some cool stuff going on. And for the first quarter-ish of the book, maybe, I was very much on board. I was really enjoying it. And I thought it was a good setup. I also think that the character of Callista, who is in this book, who's basically a already dead Jedi who is a spirit type of thing, is in this book, and she interacts with Luke Skywalker. I thought that the way that her character was approached was interesting. I didn't really particularly care for her as a character that much, but the way that she was approached and how she was involved in the story was kind of interesting. And there was some little bits here and there that I thought was interesting. And in general, I enjoyed a lot of the scenes in here a decent amount, the just stuff with the different characters. I enjoyed reading a lot of the individual scenes. But moving now into negatives, this book really confused me. I enjoyed some of the scenes. I thought that some of the bits were interesting to read and things like that, but I could not hardly tell you anything that happened in this book because for some reason, it just went over my head. I was really confused in a lot of parts, especially with how it was kind of structured. There would be 2 scenes side by side of Luke doing things, and I'm pretty sure some of those scenes were visions or dreams or flashbacks or something like that, something that is not actually a part of what is actually happening or something, but they were side by side, and I could not really keep track of what was actually happening. And I don't know, it just really confused me. Maybe that's just because I must maybe miss something, I don't know. But it really just I was reading this and I just kind of lost track of what was going on, and I think that definitely negatively impacted my enjoyment of this book, because if I can't really follow what's going on, then I'm not really going to have a good handle on the plot. I'm not going to have a good handle on what's going on with the character arcs or things, that kind of stuff. So again, I liked some of the individual scenes and a couple of those sort of things in this book, but as the whole, I couldn't really tell you what this book was even really about, aside from some of the stuff that was set up at the beginning, with them trying to find the Children of the Jedi, and then the Eye of Palpatine ship and things like that, which is kind of the point of this book, is to go track that stuff down and all that. Other than that, I couldn't really tell you what happened in this book. And that really is the big thing. I'm sorry this is such like a short, bare bones kind of review. But I really just don't have much of anything to say about this one because I just found it really confusing. I couldn't really follow it very well. There wasn't much that stood out to me as particularly good or particularly bad. Like, it was another Legends book. There have been a lot of them recently, which has been pretty unfortunate, but there's just been a lot of them where nothing really stood out to me, and it was just like a very middle of the road, like, I'm probably going to have read this book, and then in like a week I'm going to have forgotten about it or something. It's one of those ones for me, where it just, nothing really stuck with me, nothing really interested me that much. Couldn't really follow what was going on very well, all that stuff. So as far as a rating out of 10 for this one, I would probably give it like a 5, maybe a 6 if I was feeling a little more generous, but yeah, it was just like, for me, like a 5 or 6 is like very much like in the middle. Like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good. It was just like, for me, a 5 is almost, even though it's not the worst score numerically that I could give a book, it's almost the worst one in a more general sense, because if I give something a 5, that probably means I don't even find it memorable even for being bad. It's just nothing. And that's kind of how I feel about this one. It didn't really do anything for me. And I really feel bad to say that, because I feel like a lot of my reviews lately and a lot of the books that I've been reading, as far as the Star Wars ones at least, it's just been a lot of me talking about how not memorable and how I didn't really care for these books and all these things. But that's just how it is, I guess. So, and also I just have to say, I don't really like the cover design. I like the cover artwork, and I like the logo. I hate that the Children of the Jedi and the name of the author are in red. I think it looks horrible. Wasn't really crazy about this one. Don't have a whole lot to say about it, so I apologize, but that's just how it is. So anyways, that's pretty much all I got for you today. So let me know down in the comments if you have read this book and what you thought of it. Hopefully you enjoyed it more than I did, but for me, this one, like I said, was just kind of a very nothing book. I'm probably not even going to remember that I read it by the end of the year. It's just, yeah, didn't really do much for me. So that is pretty much it for this review. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.